Hello everyone, and it is Heath with the Groovy Gold Hunter. This is kind of a special edition, but it's really not because there's nothing special about what I'm doing right now. Not doing a pay dirt today. Today I am going to teach you how to do something absolutely wrong. Oh man, I don't even know how to begin this video. Okay, I got some pay dirt from Mount Baker Mining and Metals LLC, MBMMLLC. If you've seen his YouTube channel, really cool dude. And he has a gold mine, and he was selling his gold ore, and I bought it. And I'll give you a quick shot of it. All of that stuff right there. Big chunks of rocks, little chunks of rock, huge chunks of rocks. And I don't have any way of breaking this stuff down except for my handy dandy handheld rock crusher. Now, I just showed you all of the stuff that I have to smash and pulverize. I can't do that with that handheld thing, or I could, but it would take me 6 years, and by that time I will probably have stopped this channel. So I'll just show you this. And if you see this, you know exactly what I'm trying to do. Yes, that is an angle grinder. And you see all of this sheet metal and all these parts and all this crap on my flooring, no doubt, because I don't have anywhere to even do this. Half my garage is full of flooring that I have to do at a later date. I digress. Let's get to what I'm doing here. Yes, I am trying to build a rock crusher. I wasn't going to video it because I don't know what I'm doing. I've been watching YouTube videos trying to figure it out. I committed to it because looking up rock crushers online, they cost $400, $500. I didn't want to pay that to crush that bit up over there, so I decided I'll give it a shot. Now, full disclosure, I am not a welder. I am not a fabricator. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. The only things I've ever cut in my life has been wood. Anything wood and softer. Metal, different story. Yeah, this is what I did. I bought the angle grinder. I own a buttload of Ryobi tools. And yes, I am open for sponsorship, Ryobi or Ryobi, however you want to pronounce it, because I have about 7 of these batteries and I love their tools. If you haven't noticed with all the green tools in my garage. So I just added that to the collection because I've got all kinds of other cordless tools, drills, saws, you name it. I've got a Ryobi. So I decided to go with this for the rock crusher part, but I'm also having to use it to cut sheet metal and other pieces of metal and chain and God knows what else. I've already begun, but I'm at a standstill because I don't know how far I'm going to take this, and I really just don't know what I'm doing. To show you how much I don't know, I bought this welder right here. I've never used a welder before, so that should be interesting. This is the sheet metal. I did draw a circle. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain this. I'm just going to set the camera down and just try to explain it as best that I can. This is what I have done to this point. I bought the grinder. That's about it. Okay, no, I've done more than that. I bought about, I don't know, a 2-foot piece of sheet metal. And it says it's weldable still, so that's why I bought it. Got it at Lowe's for like $12. So I spent $12 on this. Bought a foot of chain, the smallest amount you can get. A bunch of other stuff that I'll show you in a little bit. I bought one of these nut thingies. I don't know what they're called. I bought one of those, cut that in half because they said to, so I did. This is where I'm at so far. Plate. I cut a 5/8 inch hole in this because they told me to. Apparently this goes right here, okay? Now again, this thing's got a big circle because I was going to cut this circle out. I don't know how to cut a circle out. This is pretty thick sheet metal. It is 16 gauge, pretty thick. And I wanted thick because if I'm chewing rocks up, I wanted it to be a little sturdy. This I bought off of eBay. This is a 6-inch steel ring thingy, 2 inches wide, about a 1/4 inch thick, very thick, and 6 inches in diameter. So this somehow is supposed to go on here. Pipe. Bought this 1.5 inch diameter pipe. It said to buy you a piece of pipe that will fit over this right here, and this fits almost perfectly snug. There's a little bit of wiggle, but it's supposed to go over here to protect your insides of the angle grinder. And then this is supposed to go here, like so. And yeah, this is about as far as I've gotten from this standpoint. Now, it also said to get this nut right here, and then a bolt that will fit in said nut. So I bought a bolt. They don't make them short, so I had to cut this bolt. And then I bought a little bracket, and this is where I've already screwed up. I already know I've screwed up. I bought this little bracket, and I drilled 3 holes in it. Now, if you notice anything about this, the holes are not aligned very good. As a matter of fact, they're awful. They're way off center. And that's not a good thing, because it's going to be spinning at 9,000 miles an hour, and it's going to wobble. So I've already screwed that up, and I'm going to have to make another one, which means I'm going to have to go buy another one. Then I bought this chain. Like I said, I had to cut some links out of it, and the guy that I was watching used this type of chain, and he cut a little sliver out of it so he can slide it onto the bracket like so, and then it hangs like this. Same thing for the other side. So I got that much done, and it turned out okay, except it's a little off center. And I think if it's going to be a little off center, it's going to cause this thing to wobble, and I don't think that's a good thing. It fits in said hole. See? Doesn't rub. It's got about 1/4 inch separation from this little ring thingy. So I think I did good on that part, but I'm going to have to redo the bracket like I said. Drilling holes into metal, I've never done before, and now I know why people don't do it with just a hand drill and a drill bit, because I about broke my wrist twice, because once I got through to this part, that drill bit started catching that metal, and it just jerked my arm almost out of my socket. Lesson learned on that. Then somehow I've got to learn how to weld this right here to this and hope that it stays. Then I take said nut that I cut in half, this right here, screw this onto here, but it can't be touching this. Then put this here, take said bolt that I cut, screw it in here, 5/8 inch. That's how far I've gotten. Yes, I know I'm going to put a locking washer on here as well, but this is where I'm at. This is as far as I've gotten. This is going to end up being here, and then this plate will end up being here, and that's as far as I've gotten on that part. So that's where I'm at. Imagine all that stuff actually on there and working correctly, and then this, and then what the hell? I put the wrong nut on there. I'm going to demonstrate this before I get done here. Okay, so just a quick spin. See? That's what it's supposed to do with all of the crap in there as well. So that's where I'm at. All that just to show you that. And I'm trying to be serious about it, to be honest, because I would like to have it work. And so far, I think I've spent 20. I wanted the angle grinder anyway, so I don't count that as an expense because I needed an angle grinder. 20, 30, I've spent 80 bucks so far. I do have my miter saw, but I couldn't cut through that sheet metal with that miter saw, so I had to use the angle grinder for that. But I finally got that cut. I'm really kind of going back and forth whether I should cut this in a circle or just keep it as a block and then weld the ring just on that like that, and then maybe put some screws on either end and close it that way. How am I going to get the rocks inside of there? Well, I'm going to have to cut a hole in this so it will have an entrance hole, and then put some kind of pipe, not this one, just giving you a demo, something to insert the rocks into. And then, like when this gets put on, however I decide to put it on, I'm gonna have to find an exit hole for it as well. Are you confused? Because you should be. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Just a lot to do and little knowledge of knowing how to do it. And that's where I'm at.
3 weeks later.
You see where, oh man, I'm not exactly froggy about doing this. I've never done it before, and I'm in my garage. I'm going to try to practice weld, and I'll pan down and let you watch. I hope it doesn't fry my camera. Here this is. I'm going to practice. My screw up right here, I'm going to sit here and just weld, see what happens. So I'm going to plug in. I'm going to turn this welder on. Oh Lord, I've got my little stick. I guess I've got this grounded. I put the grounding on this table. This is the only thing metal that I have, and I put a plate underneath this just in case. I didn't want to burn a hole through my cabinet. I've got this set at the bare minimum, so I'm going to juice it up to about 20. 20 is the lowest. It goes all the way up to 160. I'm going to go 36. Here we go. Strike a match. Okay. All right, so I think I don't have this grounded correctly. That seems to be the issue. I'm not sure. I thought this was metal. Maybe it's aluminum and it's not going to... I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Let's stop. This has something to do with it. I know that you have to be grounded, but do you have to be grounded to what you're welding on? I don't know. I don't want to do something wrong. I'm guessing this is aluminum and aluminum doesn't work. So maybe I should do it, ground it to this. Think maybe that's it. Well, we'll see what happens. All I want to do is just try this. I'm just making my first attempt at welding. I think this is going to do something. Oh, look at there. Look at there. Did you see that? All right, my thingy's not working. I'm going to go blind here in a second. Hold on. Oh, I got to turn my thingy on. All right, let's see how I did. I don't know how these things work, and I'm so sorry. This is pathetic. I mean, I'll never learn if I don't practice, but... So, I'm going to turn it up just a little bit and go to 45. It keeps getting stuck. Okay, so I think I'm still not powerful enough. Let's turn it up a little more. We'll go to 60. I'm just making a damn mess is what I'm doing. Okay, so I just burnt a hole in this. Huh? What do y'all think? Not bad, huh? So at least I figured that part out. Yes, you're welcome. So what I'm going to do now... Oh boy, what am I going to do? What in the heck am I doing? So let's try this. Let's turn this off so I don't blow myself up. All right, so that was my first ever weld. That's exactly what I was going for. That nice burnt hole in the pipe look. I see JB Weld in my future. All right, new plan. Took a trip to Lowe's. I had to do a couple things. When all else fails, man, I don't know. It has to be me. It's got to be me. It is me. You know, at the same time, I don't know if this kind of metal, the pipe that I've got, I don't know if that's a weldable thing or not. I don't know. There's my weld. Good old-fashioned JB Weld. So I've had to do a couple of things. The first one that I did, it was off-centered a little bit, these holes right here. So I went to Lowe's, bought me another bracket, and got this thing 100% level. And now it doesn't wobble. The first one that I make, it shook really bad. This is my new way of doing this. Instead of doing the welding, I'm going to do the screw-in type. So basically what I'm going to do is have this part, I'm going to put that there, and this will be going back up against here like so. It'll be pretty much like that. And then I bought me a couple of 90-degree things to bolt this to here. I'm going to glue that piece of metal to this board right here once that dries, and then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I was using wood, but I broke the wood, so I went to this composite stuff that I still have a little bit of, that right down there. The other side, I'm going to do the same thing, but I think I'm just going to use a piece of wood. So this will be my other side, and then I'm going to drill a bunch of holes right here, and then I'm going to glue another piece of wood. I did have two pieces of this, and then when I tried to cut that hole out, when I was trying to do that with this, I cracked the wood, so I went to this because it's a whole lot easier. Yeah, it's a mess. I don't know if this is going to even work. I'm going to put some more JB Weld on that probably after this cures. I don't know if I put enough on there. There's really nothing going on with this except this is protecting the insides of the angle grinder. Like I said, this piece right here and this piece right here, I'm going to glue together It's going to look like that. And then on this side, I'm going to drill a hole right here, and then I'm going to insert this. So this will be my exit spout for the rock. So I'll drill a hole and then it'll come out like that. So any dust or any of the broken up stuff will come out of this. That's the plan. Getting back to this, I don't know what to do with this because I have to have an entrance for this, and I don't know where and how I'm going to make this entrance, because what my plan was is to find some kind of square tubing that's about 1 inch in diameter, cut out 1 inch hole right here, and then that would be my where I insert the rock. But number one, I got to cut that, and I don't even know how I'm going to be able to cut that because this ain't very wide. So I don't think an angle grinder is going to work. I'm probably going to have to drill 100,000 holes in there and then somehow cut it. I don't know. So that's where I'm at, and I wish I could just go ahead and put this video out so everybody can tell me everything I'm doing wrong and tell me what to do. The other thought I had was somehow if I could get a big enough bit to drill a hole in here. That would be hard because that's thick, and I don't know if there's a bit that could be able to, I don't even know if there's a bit that would do that. All right, guys, so it's Monday the 8th, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick update because I've been battling this thing. I've screwed it up about 3 different times. So let me show you where it's at real quick. Yeah, look at that. Is that not professional? I said screw it and started to weld it just to try to hold it in place, and then I was just going to take the JB weld and go around the rest of it, but I wanted to just like tap some welds in it to hold it, and there they are. They're pretty awful. That's not even hitting the daggum this. It's just straight up on that piece of sheet metal. And then I just went crazy. I went all the way around it. It's such a mess. I had this board already glued to this piece of metal, not thinking about how hot that's going to get, and the fact that I melted the glue that I glued this to this, so the metal and this piece of board, yeah, it melted the corner. So I tried to stick some glue in there and kind of redo it. Probably end up drilling some holes in there and just bolting it down. It's still attached. It's just where I was hitting those spot welds, it got really hot and just melted the glue and made it come apart. Here's the back end of it. I screwed that up. The hole is not centered. I've screwed up a lot. I'm still below budget, but for what I'm getting out of it, this mess. So I've got to bore this out even more so I can make it fit the angle grinder because it's off-centered just a little bit. Even after all that, I'm not sure that this thing is going to be centered here. So I'm hoping, because this is barely a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more than a 1/4 inch gap. So if I'm off-centered on that even by a little bit, it's going to rub one side. So there's that. I got ballsy this morning and said, oh, I'm going to go over here and weld. I'm going to prove to myself that I could tack a weld onto that metal, and I kind of sort of did because it's not going anywhere. It's on there, but it's not on there pretty. So there's your update. One more thing I did not show you. This isn't glued on either. I did get the other side. This right here, this is the other side. So what I did, and I'm going to put this plate on the back of this piece of wood. I don't have to weld anything because I'm not welding this or anything. It's just going to go on the back of it, and then I'm going to put 4 bolts and then bolt it through the other piece of wood on that you just saw that's got the cylinder on it. So I just cut and drilled a bunch of little bitty holes. I don't know if you can see them, but a bunch of little bitty holes, and then it's going to exit this little spout, and then I can put me a little pipe on here and have it go down into a bucket or something. Problem is, and I'm not making excuses, I don't have the correct tools to do this stuff. I don't have a press drill. I don't even have a table to weld on. I got one vice grip that you just saw, and that's for everything. And I'm having to use that vice grip to hold everything when I'm drilling holes in the stuff and all that crap. Not exactly up to par with like equipment to be doing this kind of stuff, but I'm just doing it as I go. Another issue I'm having, and let me come over here and show you real quick because I really don't know what to do, is the entrance to this thing. This is another issue I'm going to have. Where am I going to be able to put the rocks in? This thing is thick. It's a 1/4 inch thick. I need at least an inch hole in here. And I've been going back and forth if I should cut a square out or if I should cut a circle out. What I decided to do, I bought I don't know what it's called. It's a bit that goes from a 1/4 inch to it cones out. I forgot what it's called. I really don't know if it's even going to be able to go through this. I almost broke my wrist boring that damn hole through the sheet metal because my drill caught and it jerked and my wrist went. We are back and I'm going to do a little work on it. So here's where I'm at, and this is my project now. It is that hole to feed the rocks into. This thing is thick. So I'm just going to sit here and work on this for a minute. This is the drill bit that I've chosen to drill this hole in. And man, this thing and this with this doesn't work very well. Definitely need a high powered drill with a lot more torque to do this, but it's working. I bought this on Amazon. This thing cost me maybe 30 bucks, I think. Yeah, hole, spin. I do have to make sure this gets as tight as it can possibly get. This is a cheap vice grip that I have. And then, oh man, a lot of pressure, a lot of crap. The goal is to try to get it as big as this, so I can somehow, and not this particularly, but something about that big that will fit into this so I can feed the rocks. I keep checking to make sure that these edges that are cutting into the steel are still sharp and not dulling out. I'm sure they've dulled out a little bit, but my goal is to get to this point right here. This is the, let's see, 1 1/4 inch is where I'm trying to get this hole in. And so far I'm right at about an inch. And I am making progress. It's just taking forever. And I'm trying to keep it as straight as possible, but since this thing is curved, I kind of have to go this route, like kind of up and down to try to chew up one side, because it'll chew right here in the middle, but it won't touch either side of these, so I kind of have to move this around. But when I do that, it catches and grips it, and it'll throw this daggum drill and either come this way and hit me in the chest, or it'll try to fly out of my hand. That's why I've got this crazy grip on it right now. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for a long time. This thing right here will get super hot. You'll start to see it smoke, so I have to be careful with that. That's where I'm at now. Quick update on my sluice box. I got my sluice box finished. I tested it. It's working good. Again, it was just worn down. I just resealed it with the silicone. Put this in as well, so that would keep that sand and all the cons from getting underneath the mat. There it is. It is Tuesday, January the something, 16th. I think I am close to being done. There it is, right there, the rock crusher. I haven't taped a whole lot of this just because it's been so loud and there's so much crap flying everywhere. I've just been focused on trying to figure this out and how to get it to work correctly. Look at this. This is my rock feeder. I don't know if it's going to work. I tried to kind of angle it so I wouldn't have the chance of rocks coming back at me. Didn't really work out too well. I'll probably pull this out because that's just in there. Pardon the interruption, but fun fact about this, that part that I put on there to put rocks in broke off at least 5 different times, so there's nothing more than a hole there now. So just wanted to give you that update while I'm editing this. The pipe did not work. Rocks kept smashing it and cracking it and breaking it. So that is the JB Weld. I did it all the way around, inside and out. I don't know how sturdy that's going to be. I might put another coat of JB Weld on top of it just to make sure it's good and sturdy. And then here is the other side of it, and this is what I've come up with on that. Now I haven't even put this together yet. I've been trying to find washers. These bolts right here are going to end up going through here like so, and then meeting that end, and then I've got the wing nuts to tighten it. And then here's this part. I put this rubber seal around it. Just took a piece of plumbing rubber, just put it in a circle so when it hits this, it will seal it up. Hopefully it'll do a good job of that. We'll just see how it works. I'm going to put this thing together. I'll give you a quick test. I'm going to stand back. Let's do this one time. So what I've had to do on this as well, and I don't know if you can see it, but this was rubbing. So I had to shave this down so it wouldn't hit, because this thing is just, I mean, off-centered by maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And it was just enough for one side of this to smack up against this. So I shaved both ends down so I would get more room. But that's an easy fix. If that doesn't work, I can just pull this whole thing off and just redo this bracket and it'll be fine. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm going to put it all together and then show you the end result. And here it is. That is the finished product. What do you say about this? It didn't cost me $400. That's the best I can say about it. Altogether, I've gone to Lowe's 3 or 4 times. I'm not including the angle grinder because the angle grinder is separate from buying a rock crusher. And the cheapest I've seen a rock crusher was $350, and it takes like 2 or 3 months to get that. I've taken every YouTube video that I've watched and just kind of combined it all, and this is what I came up with. And who knows if it's going to work, but we will turn it on. I don't hear any clacking and clinking, so that's great. That means that it's not hitting the walls. I'm hoping that this stuff holds. I'm more worried about this than anything, making sure that that holds. Hopefully it'll work. All right, guys, I am back with the build. I'm just calling it the build because it's done. The finished product is what it is. I have been testing it, and here it is right here. I haven't really recorded it step by step because I've been tinkering with it so much and going back and forth. I've had to do things and then redo them and then redo them and then redo them, and I just didn't want to film all that. So I'll just give you what I did on the finished product. Now, this is how I've got it transferring from the rock crusher into a bucket. Yeah, it's the only thing I could come up with. I basically drilled a giant hole in here and then found this at Lowe's. It's the only thing that came close to fitting this. It had a little bit of an angle, so I thought maybe I can angle it to keep the rocks from flying up. It really did no good, but it's in there, so it is what it is. Wing nuts, bolts to hold this on. This actually comes apart. None of this is glued together as far as this is concerned. I can just pull this down and out. So I use the wing nut so I can take this off quick, and it's just 4, so I'll take those 4 off. And I got this from a guy who did a no weld build. Mine's kind of a hybrid of both. Yeah, you just take the 4 wing nuts off. I've got washers on there, and obviously you see this piece of wood. The inside is actually a metal plate that I drilled a bunch of holes in. This is where I got my transfer from, in here where you can see all the crushed rock already, and I was trying to get it to transfer out of there into that. It's worked okay, but it does get jammed up, and I still have to take this thing off and then just dump the rest of it into there. Here's the inside. 2 chain links bolted onto the angle grinder, pretty much like how everybody else does it. I'll show you inside here, and you probably can't see it, but the one issue that I had was dust getting inside or on the other side of the angle grinder, and I fixed that by putting a rubber seal in between this plate and the angle grinder. I'll turn it over so you can see what I'm talking about. So right there in between that plate, there was a lot of dust getting out of there and into the angle grinder, so I put a rubber seal in between it. You know you got leaks if you start seeing smoke blowing out of any part of this machine, and that's how I was able to find the issue with the seal. I had smoke, and by smoke I mean all of the dust particles from what I've been chewing up was coming out of this end right here. And when I took this off, because I've got it bolted to this piece right here, and then I've got the screws going into the angle grinder to keep it from shaking. It's super tight. So I JB welded the inside as well as the outside. There you can see the hole that I drilled, and I did the same. I JB welded the other side of this, and yeah, the back of here, I had to cut this out so this would be aligned good on both sides. It would rub up against the angle grinder. So yeah, there's the setup. And I just tightened down these wing nuts, make sure that seal is good and tight. This is not my permanent workstation for this. I'll do this outside. Just put this lid on, and then I'll just put that little PVC pipe up into the elbow where it sets up like that. So yeah, I've just been throwing, here's my rocks right here, or my quartz. And this is from that Mount Baker Mining and Metals. I don't put a whole lot in there. And then I'll just take this rag and I'll clog it, and then I'll hold it, and then I will turn it on. And I'll just do it until I don't hear any clack, 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 clacking anymore. So yeah, that's all I do. So there's my rock that I've been crushing. So yeah, I just give it a couple hits. Now if I take this off real fast, see the smoke? So that's what would be coming out of this if there was any leaks. So the fact that there is nothing leaking makes me very happy. I think I paid, the total cost on this build was, I had to buy an angle grinder. So I don't even count that, because if you buy a rock crusher through anybody, you have to buy an angle grinder anyway. So I think I paid 80 bucks for the angle grinder. In total, about $100 just in this stuff. There it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, share button. I know you're going to have comments, because I would if I saw that kind of build. And if you have any questions, let me know. Not claiming to be an expert, not claiming this is a success. But so far, I've been able to do a little bit of rock crushing. Oh, I forgot to show you that too. This is what I've crushed so far. And it's seriously doing some crushing, so I'm happy with it. Thanks. Bye.